Welcome back, everyone. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're listening from somewhere quiet. This is your host, Jim, and you're listening to Letters of Horror. In this podcast, we don't just tell horror stories. We read the letters people send us. Letters about things they claim happened to them, and were never the same again. We hear strange sounds at night. We feel watched for a second. We get scared. And then morning comes, and everything feels normal again. But not everyone is that lucky. Those are the stories we bring to you here. And if you have a real horror experience of your own, send it to us. Tell us what happened. Maybe one night your story will be read here too. But before we begin, remember this: horror needs an atmosphere. Wait until the night is quiet. Turn the lights off. Open the window a little if you can. Let the darkness in. Let the silence settle. Because every good horror story needs the right recipe. Now turn the volume up, look behind you once, and let's open tonight's letter. Welcome to Letters of Horror.
Hello. I hope it's all right that I'm writing to you like this. I've listened to your show for a long time, usually late at night with the lights on, and I never thought I'd be one of the people sending something in. But there's a thing that happened to me when I was a girl, and I've carried it for more than 15 years now. And I think if I don't say it out loud to someone, it's just going to keep living in the corner of every dark room I sleep in. So here it is. I'll try to tell it the way it happened. This was around 2010 in our village in rural Bangladesh. I won't say the name of the place because it's small and people would know exactly who I am. I was 13, maybe 14. My cousin, I called him Sagar Bai, was about the same age. Our houses sat close together, only a pond between them, and back then his family had some rice fields that needed looking after. His uncle worked abroad, so a lot of the field work fell on Sagar, even though he was just a boy who didn't really know when to water or when to seal the embankment. But in a village, the work doesn't wait for you to grow up. It just lands on whoever is standing there. One Wednesday, he had to run the irrigation pump. I want you to remember that it was a Wednesday, because the older people in our village always said Wednesday was a bad day to be out after dark. We used to laugh at that. Kids always laugh at those things, right up until they stop. That evening, my aunt, Sagar's mother, realized he and our grandmother had gone to the field without a proper light, and it was already getting late. So she handed me a small lamp and told me to run it over to them and walk them home. That was the whole job. Carry the light, bring them back. I'd walked that path 100 times. I remember the air smelled like wet mud and diesel from the pump somewhere off in the dark. The birds had already gone quiet. In the village, night doesn't come in slowly the way it does in a city with street lamps. It just drops. 1 minute you can see the path, and the next there are only shapes. There was a thicket along one side of the way home, not a real jungle, just a loose tangle of trees and bamboo and bushes. Harmless in the daytime. I wasn't scared. I was moving fast, half running the way you do when you know the road, holding the little lamp out in front of me. And then I hit something. Not someone. Something. It was solid, right there in the middle of the open path, and there had been nothing there a second before. I ran straight into it and went down. The lamp flew out of my hand and rolled off to the side, still lit, throwing this small, shaking glow across the ground. Before I could even understand what I'd walked into, a hand closed around my throat. I want to be careful how I say this, because it's the part I've never been able to explain. It grabbed me and it squeezed hard, and then it lifted me, off my feet, up into the air. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't make a sound. I was clawing at it, both my hands scratching at the fingers around my neck, and that's when I felt it. There was no arm, just the hand. Fingers, a palm, a wrist, and then nothing. No body behind it, no shape, no face in front of me in the dark. Just a hand hanging in the air, holding me up by the throat like I weighed nothing at all. I keep telling myself I was a child, that I was frightened, that maybe I imagined the rest. But you don't imagine the feeling of your own feet leaving the ground. You don't imagine going that long without air. I don't know how many seconds passed. It felt like a very long time, long enough to stop struggling, long enough to think, in this strange, calm way, that I was going to die on a path I'd walked my whole life. And then, across the village, the Maghrib Azan began. The call to prayer rose up over the fields, that long first line, and the instant it started, the hand let go. I dropped straight down onto the dirt, but I still couldn't move. I lay there on my back, awake, unable to lift even a finger, just listening. And from the eastern side of the thicket, I heard something moving away. Heavy, slow, a kind of low rumbling drag through the bushes, like something big and unwilling was being pushed back into the trees. It moved off toward the east, and it sounded, I swear to you, angry, like it had been made to leave in the middle of something. That's the last thing I remember from the path. The next thing I knew, my grandmother was screaming and grabbing hold of me. She and Sagar had heard me moaning on the ground when they came back from the field. The moment she pulled me into her arms, I fainted completely. They told me later there was a foam at the corner of my mouth, and everyone thought maybe I'd swallowed poison, because that's what people reach for first, a normal answer, a human answer. But no one could explain why I'd been lying in that thicket alone in the first place. They carried me home and laid me in the courtyard, poured water on my head, warmed oil and rubbed it into my hands and feet. After maybe half an hour, I woke up screaming, and when I could finally talk, I told them everything I just told you. The adults went quiet in that way. Adults do when they don't want the children to see they're afraid. I stayed in the village a couple more days after that. The imam came. They did the old things, touched iron to my body, gave me blessed water, bathed me warm, recited over me. I didn't get a fever. I seemed fine. So they decided I was well enough, and I went back to my own house in our own village nearby. That should have been the end. I really thought it was. The first night home, I woke up around 3 a.m. to something lying across my face. Half asleep, I thought it was my little brother's hand. He slept near me, and sometimes his arm would flop over in the night. I reached up to push it away, and it was hairy. Thick, coarse hair all over the back of it. Not a child's hand. Not any hand I knew. There was a little light coming in through the window. I opened my eyes. There was a face over me. Eyes red like coals from a cooking fire, glowing in the dark. A mouth that was long and open like a dog's with the tongue hanging loose. And the whole thing was covered in fur, leaning down over me where I lay. It wasn't just a hand anymore. Now it had a body, and it had come to my house in a different village into my own room. I screamed. My mother woke beside me and turned on the light, and there was nothing there. Empty room. She held me and told me it was a nightmare, that after everything I'd been through, of course I was seeing things, and she recited her verses and blew over me and told me to sleep. But I didn't sleep. I lay awake with my eyes open until the Fajr Azan came at dawn. Only then, with the light coming up, did I let myself close them. Mornings are cruel with things like this. In the daylight, it's easy to feel foolish. People cook and sweep the yard and feed the animals, and your own terror starts to embarrass you. And even you begin to wonder if maybe your mother was right. Then the second night came, and it was worse. I was lying down, not even asleep yet, when I felt something on my forehead, soft and wet and warm. It moved slowly, across my forehead, down over my cheek, along my nose, back and forth. It wasn't a hand this time. It was a tongue. I opened my eyes, and it was there again, the same red-eyed thing, and its tongue was stretched out of its mouth, long, much longer than any tongue should be, 2 feet at least, dragging wet across my face. I screamed. My mother woke, and this time she saw it too. That's the part I need you to understand, because it's the reason I know I didn't dream any of it. The first night, she could tell me it was fear. She could tell me it was in my head. But the second night, we screamed together, both of us, at the same thing in the same dark. My father came running from the next room and threw on every light in the house, and again there was nothing. No red eyes, no fur, no tongue, just the 2 of us shaking and crying. He didn't call it a nightmare after that. He understood that whatever had grabbed me on that path hadn't stayed in the thicket. It had followed me home. That night, we kept every light in the house burning, every bulb, every lamp, all of us awake, just waiting. There's nothing worse than sitting up in a bright room waiting for something you can't see to come back. The next morning, my father went looking for a huzur, a religious teacher who knew how to do ruqya. He found one, but the man said he couldn't come until after evening. He had things to prepare, things to bring. And before he hung up, he gave my family one warning. Watch her closely. Don't let her go outside alone. Not for any reason. That warning frightened me more than anything when I thought about it later, because it meant the danger wasn't only that something might appear in my room, it was that something wanted to take me out of it. The Huzur came that evening with another man who also knew the recitations. They went into my room and stayed there working for 2 or 3 hours. I don't know everything they did. When they finally came out, the Huzur told my parents it was finished, that the Jinn had been taken and bound, and that it wouldn't trouble me again. He gave me things I had to keep doing, prayers and practices, and told me to continue them until I was married. I did. I followed every one of them. I grew up. I got married. I have 2 daughters of my own now, and they're healthy, and my life is ordinary, and most days I don't think about any of this at all. But no one ever told me why it chose that path that Wednesday, that exact hour, why it grabbed me and let go only when the azan began, why it followed me across the fields to another village, why it came first as a hand with no arm and then with a face and fur and that long, wet tongue. The Huzur never explained it, he only took it away. So I've been left with just the pieces: a dark path, a dropped lamp, a hand hanging in the air, the call to prayer, something heavy dragging itself off into the trees. I'm 40 now, or close to it, and I still check the corners of my room before I turn off the light. Every single night. My husband thinks it's just a habit. I've never told him why. Thank you for reading my letter.
That was tonight's letter from Letters of Horror. Some stories are only stories, and some stay with you long after the room goes quiet. If you enjoyed this one, we have many more waiting for you on our Substack podcast. Every week, we upload 2 full 1-hour horror episodes filled with letters, true-sounding nightmares, and stories meant to be heard in the dark. This YouTube upload is only temporary, so it may disappear from here later. But our full collection will be available on Substack, so subscribe there and don't miss the next letter. You'll find the link in the description. This is Jim, your host from Letters of Horror. Until the next story, lock your doors. Turn down the lights and listen carefully, because sometimes the thing you hear in a story hears you too.